It's the Diamond K Show.
So much going on in the world. You talk about things from the perspective of how it is. DJ Diamond K, sometimes it comes off like you are almost not in support of, but you just accept the way things are and there's no chance of change. Check me out on YouTube. That's the part that I am just like,
OnFireTV.com.
Welcome back. You made Diamond K in here, of course. The DiamondKShow.com. OnFire-TV.com, RadioOnFire.com. A lot of things to talk about today. A lot of things to get into. I definitely want to talk about the, complicated history with regards to The Woman King. Now, that is a movie, obviously. And the thing about it is that it is based loosely on inspired by, I say events inspired by like that whole thing. So some folks got their panties all in a bunch about this, and we're going to talk about it. And I got a gang of things here on my list to get into. So Sony Pictures Entertainment has a new film that they released starring Viola Davis. And Viola Davis is the leader of an all-female set of warriors. So it took the number one spot at the domestic box office over the weekend with a surprising 19 million. So they made some money. And the thing about it is that they were not projected to make the kind of money that they made. So that's why we say it was shocking, surprising. The film, the money, like I said, kind of unexpected for a few reasons. So it was projected to bring in around 11 million. So it definitely exceeded expectations. Also, The Woman King is an original, meaning it is not based on a previous piece of intellectual property. You know how they keep remaking stuff over and over again? This is something new. This is something that we hadn't seen before. And most of the movies that they've been making, in case you haven't been paying attention, have been something that we've already seen before. So this was different in that regard. And then it turns out to be a success at the box office. Oh, yeah. Some folks are mad. Some folks are happy, obviously. Now, in modern day Hollywood, to take the box office crown, right, to be the biggest movie of that weekend without being connected to a prior hit or a big franchise, that's very rare. So that's why this showing of The Woman King, the box office showing, is shocking and surprising to some people. Now, this action drama cost $50 million to make. They spent $50 million making this film. And, right now, there's not a lot of big budget movies out. There's not a lot of big, movies in the theaters like that. They have actually been struggling, talking about the movie theaters, the chains. They've been struggling to get folks into the theaters. Now, I know some of you like, oh, I love going to the movies, but everybody ain't going to the movies, right? So it's like something comes out, maybe people are hitting the movies, but pre-pandemic, folks was going to the movies every weekend. Now it is not like that. It has to really be a big event for folks to really, really come to the movies. So, and then you also have the fact that there are studios having supply chain issues. What do I mean? These are caused by the pandemic. And a lot of studios are skipping theaters altogether and going straight for the streaming services. Because, a lot of folks just want to stay home or do something else, stream it how they see fit. So they're not a lot of big time movies in the theaters. So Woman King comes out, bam, takes the number one spot. A lot of folks got their panties in a bunch. Critics and audiences showered the film with raves, leading to a 95% critics score on the review site Rotten Tomatoes and a perfect A+ cinema score from ticket buyers. But you may have noticed online, some folks are upset, which goes back to what I said in the beginning. Inspired by true events. The film it clearly is not married to the facts. So they used the underlying story of the 19th century female warriors in an African kingdom as the jumping off point for this action vehicle. And there's a lot of melodrama. You got a love story in there. I'm not going to spoil it for you. But the combination really results in a strong showcase for the stars. Features a nice cast, a backdrop that serves as a refresh to the old school formula. The old school formula of filmmaking and storytelling. So why are some folks saying that there has to be a boycott of this movie? We should, not be supporting this movie. Why are some folks saying that? Some folks are mad. I personally venture to say some of the folks that are upset don't like the fact that this is a woman starred, directed, focused action drama where women are kicking men's butt. Some men are angry about that. So they want to zoom in on the fact that this is inspired by actual events and does not tell the actual history. This is not a historical this is not a documentary. This is a movie, which means that they are fast and loose with the actual history. But this happens in movies all the time. How do you think that? I mean, let's go back over the years when you talk about Cleopatra or folks from Egypt and they got white people playing it. That's historically incorrect. That ain't the way it was. Right? You got Tom Cruise as the last samurai. Really? He's not even Asian, right? Or, the stuff that happened with the debacle of the Harriet Tubman movie. And maybe I won't say debacle, but the Harriet Tubman movie, right? The Woman King is a movie. So are they fast and loose with the facts? A little bit, but they're not claiming to be a documentary, right? They're not claiming to be a documentary. So there are very few notable movies coming to the theaters until the Christmas season. So Woman King could continue to find an audience and rack up the sales at the ticket booth. And you're still going to have some folks saying, boycott the movie. How dare they not talk about the role that Africa played in the slave trade? It's ironic how many times we have seen movies that are inspired by true events not get it exactly the way it was, right? You had, what was it, Notorious, right? The movie about Biggie. Yeah, a lot of people say, oh, it wasn't happening like that. Where is this person? Where is that person? It's the movie. Can't fit everything in the movie. And they had a story that they wanted to tell. And was that the exact story? All Eyes on Me. Tupac's biopic. Was that the actual story? Go to New Edition movie on BET. These are historical. These are inspired by true events. They're trying to tell their story. And I think that a lot of those may have held closer to the actual factual of the way things were than The Woman King did. But I love the concept. But there's a complicated history. Now, if you want to talk about the real story, we can do that. But this movie inspired by true events. but not an actual accounting. So don't boycott the movie. Don't listen to folks on the right who hate women, want to keep women in their place. The director of this movie also directed Love and Basketball, right? So she is venturing off into the world of action movies, and she's been doing her thing. So definitely, um, we got to salute to her. Gina Prince by the Wood. So this historical epic movie chronicles the trials and the triumphs of these lady warriors, and you know, it's to some to see it. It really is going to be an eye opener because Viola looks, she's believable in this role. All right, she's believable in this role. She committed to this role. The all-female special forces was also this all-female special forces was, I don't know, like inspiration for the women warriors in Wakanda, right? And the Black Panther sequel, Wakanda Forever, is probably going to focus even more closely on the women of Wakanda. So we're going to be seeing more imagery of strong women kicking butt, kicking butt. Prince by the Wood, the director, she has credited Black Panther with helping to pave the way for this film, especially in an industry in which the stories of our people of color, have not always been prioritized by studios. They ain't always wanted to tell our stories or tell a story that featured us in a good light. Let me say that. So The Woman King marks the first time that a major motion picture in this country has told the story of this African tribe of women who kick butt. It also addresses the role that that was played in the slave trade. But here's the thing. Here's what it does. And this may upset some folks. It glosses over the fact that the king at the time only temporarily paused the kingdom's participation in 1852. Some folks think that they've glossed over the role that was played in the slave trade. Yeah, talk about it's mind blowing when I hear that. But if you do your research, you will see. You will definitely see the actual origins of these Amazon women. It's kind of cloudy. The first recorded mention of them dates back to 1729. 1729. One theory suggests that they began as a dedicated group of elephant hunters. Elephant hunters. And so there's a lot of different theories out there. A lot of different theories. And I think that folks need to go watch the movie. At the peak, the Agoji, this Amazon tribe of women, included as many as 6,000 members. 6,000 members. But while it is glossed over in the movie, there was a role that they played in slavery in the kingdom. There definitely was a role. It was very complex. Very complex. She experiences the horrors of slavery firsthand. And, like I said, I don't want to spoil it for folks. But, it's you're telling a story, and you don't want to shy away from things, but also you're telling a part of the story. And the focus is about overcoming and fighting for what's right. So I think that they kind of balanced out. They kind of balanced out that and what role they could, what story they could tell with regards to that. So 5% of slave exports came from that region. And it is a massive number of human lives, massive number. Out of the total across Africa, it's a massive number when looked at the large number of 12.5 million people that were enslaved. 5% of that. It's a large number. When European history is discussed, scholars acknowledge the continent's heavy involvement in the slave trade. Or at least they're starting to do that more now. Now, we also have to recognize the contributions that each nation made to the world. Neither existed without the other. So we're going to have plenty of time to consume the legacy of the Dahomey and the slave trade. But at the same time, like you do with any other continent or any other country, we also need to talk about the things that they did independent of this. The Agoji women of 1823, the ones who are portrayed in the movie, were not slave raiders. So it is interesting. I definitely encourage folks to go see it, check it out. Do not be I don't know, influenced to not support it because of something that you heard somebody say on the right. Some Republican leaning person that wants to shame it. Give it a chance. Check it out. Give it a chance and check it out. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, at The Diamond K Show, of course, onfire-tv.com. Here in the program, we deliver the biggest political and trending news stories of the day with interviews and original reporting from across the country. Show is fun, show is upbeat, but I still have to expose what's really going on. And as I said, a lot of things going on. I'm going to give you independent perspective on politics and other topics. If a Republican's wrong, which they usually are, I'm going to call it out. But Democrat is weak, which they usually are, I'm going to call that out too. All right, I'm going to call that out too. And as I said, a lot of things that we have to get into. And before I do that, though, talk about some things that are happening this weekend. A lot going on. The Mid-Atlantic Health Expo takes place Saturday, September the 24th, 2022 in North Laurel Community Center, 9411 Whiskey Bottom Road in Laurel. 12 to 8 p.m. Admission to the expo is free to all ages. Now, the Mid-Atlantic Health Expo is a one-stop shop for better health care outcomes. So the focus is areas of blood pressure, diabetes care, eye care providers are going to have CPR training, organic food retailers, fashion and beauty, family wellness centers, gyms and equipment, dental and oral health, mental health, along with guest speakers and so much more. Attendees will get to meet and engage with a variety of innovative exhibitors and activities to include the University of Maryland Capital Robotic Assisted Surgery Program. So let's do this. We have a video to talk a little bit about this. Let's take a look at this real quick.
At University of Maryland Capital Region Health, we are really proud to be offering robotic surgery as another way to do minimally invasive surgery. I've been doing robotics for a number of years, and so I'm excited about bringing this option for women to the community. This really allows women to do a few things. One, have a surgery that is very different than maybe what their mom had, so that they can stay in the hospital for a shorter period of time. They can go back to all the normal activities that they want to do and need to do for their families.
So the surgeon is in the operating room and fully controls the camera when this happens and the surgical instruments throughout the surgery. So they're going to have a demonstration of this, and the robotic assisted surgery demonstration is going to take place at 2 p.m. If you want more information, visit midatlantichealthexpo.org. Contact 410-541-6821. And as I said, that goes down this weekend. They have some vendor registration, but you need to visit midatlantichealthexpo.org/vendors. midatlantichealthexpo.org/vendors. You listen to the Diamond K Show here at onfire-tv.com. So do this, take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this.
It's the Diamond K Show.
So much going on in the world. You talk about things from the perspective of how it is. DJ Diamond K, sometimes it comes off like you are almost not in support of, but you just accept the way things are and there's no chance of change. Check me out on YouTube. That's the part that I am just like,
OnFireTV.com.
Welcome back. Your man Diamond K in here. And many of you remember, well, I mean, in Baltimore, I remember this case. But the Adnan Syed case, he has been released. Conviction has been tossed. Baltimore judge yesterday ordered the release of Adnan Syed, overturning his 1999 conviction of the murder of a high school student, supposed to be his ex-girlfriend, Hae Min Lee. So the case was chronicled in the hit podcast Serial, the true crime series that transfixed listeners and revolutionized the genre. So at the behest of prosecutors who had uncovered new evidence, Circuit Court Judge Finn ordered that Syed's conviction be vacated as she approved the release of the now 41-year-old man. He had spent more than 20 years behind bars. There were gasps and applause in the crowded courtroom as the judge made her decision. She ruled that the state violated its legal obligation to share evidence that could have bolstered his defense. She ordered that Syed be placed on home detention with the GPS monitor. The judge also said that the state must decide whether to seek a new trial or dismiss the case within 30 days. Said that he is free to join his family. Right now, minutes later, he emerged from the courthouse with a smile on his face, and he was pushed quickly into an SUV, and they got low. Amazing. I think that they're going to retry him, though. So it's interesting. This is something that the nation had been following. It came on to the nation's conscience about 8 years ago. So he's maintained his innocence throughout. And as I said, this case captured the attention of the country back in 2014. Focused on Lee's killing and raised doubts whether some of the evidence prosecutors had used it inspired some heated debates. I've had a lot of conversations with folks about his innocence or his guilt. So we're going to see what happens here. I don't know how this ends. State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby said that she was not going to declare him innocent just yet. So we're going to see what happens. But Mosby expressed sympathy for Lee's brother and said that she understands why the family may feel betrayed, the family of the deceased young girl. It's a tricky situation, and of course, the family wants some degree of justice. Their loved one is no longer with us and was murdered, but you got to make sure that we have the right person. You got to make sure that we have the right person. She added, "I also understand the importance as the administrator of the criminal justice system to ensure equality and justice and fairness that is entitled to the defendant as well." That was State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby talking about this case. And, his release is, this is interesting. This is going to be an interesting thing. So should they file additional charge, try him again? Or are they going to let this thing go? I don't know. I really don't know. But this is one of the last, high profile steps that Marilyn Mosby is going to take before she leaves office. Listen to the Don McKay Show, of course, on fire-tv.com. Take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this. Welcome back. Your man Don McKay in here, of course, the DonMcKayShow.com, on fire-tv.com. And today's broadcast brought to you in part by the City View Bar and Grill. City View is a family-friendly, casual dining bar and restaurant providing high-quality food and good old-fashioned friendly service. At City View Bar and Grill, you can live every hour like it is happy hour. The food is mouth-watering. The atmosphere is fun, energetic, and mature. Located at 6700 Security Boulevard in Gwen Oak, Maryland, a.k.a. Woodlawn. It is the City View Bar and Grill. Stop in today or visit cityviewmd.com. cityviewmd.com. So, definitely. Saturdays, can't forget this. Saturdays, we broadcast live from City View. DJ Hot Toddy on the 1 and 2s, and we stream live at onfire-tv.com at 3 to 5 p.m. So definitely check us out there, onfire-tv.com, and the whole Radio on Fire family in the building. And so we've been talking about politics, voting, some of those things. And what we have right now here in Maryland, we have a governor's race that, I don't know. I've been following it, obviously. And you think where things are going to go, right? You think you have an idea of how things are going to move. For the Democrats, we have Wes Moore. And the Republicans have Dan Cox. All right. So Wes Moore is leading big against Dan Cox in this governor's race. And so Wes Moore is Dan Cox is losing in the polls. Let me say that. He's losing in the polls. We don't know how the race is going to go just yet, but he's upset. And he's dismissed as I don't know, what did the governor call him? A kook? Called him a kook? He's the nominee. He's a Trump guy. He's one of the MAGA crowd. He's one of the MAGA crowd. And while Wes Moore is leading big in the race here, like 22 percentage points over him, He declined a debate against Dan Cox at Morgan. Wes Moore has declined a Fox 5 debate with Dan Cox. I don't think Wes Moore is going to debate Dan Cox. So you got two schools of thought. Does debating somebody decide your vote? And if you are 22 percentage points ahead of somebody in polls, do you have to lower yourself to debate? I mean, that's how he's coming on. I'm not going to debate him. He's saying he doesn't want to debate because he doesn't want to bring, I guess, more light on this MAGA movement. But I don't know. A part of me says I wish he would debate him so he could shut him down. Like a part of me says that. But then I also understand the hesitancy, because like Moore does not have to debate him, right? He's killing him right now based on the polls. Killing him. He's outraised his Republican opponent by roughly 10-1. Roughly 10-1. He's smashing him. Moore took in $1.8 million in the past 2 months and has $1.3 million to spend, while Dan Cox brought in $195 with a cash balance of about $130,000. In a statement, Dan Cox is downplaying his fundraising totals. Winning elections is not about having a lot of money. It's about having enough money, Cox said, adding that his fundraising is not on the strength of power-hungry politicians, Hollywood celebrities, and corporate interests, but with the help of the hardworking students, single moms, families, and small businesses. Is that where you're going? Is that where he's going? So I don't know. Moore, of course, is, I want to say he's polished. He's definitely somebody that is not without controversy. But given the alternative, what do we know about Dan Cox? He's attempted to pivot on his message since the primary. He deleted his account on Gab, which is a social media platform known for hate speech. He's erased portions of his campaign website, mentioning his efforts in opposing the certification of the 2020 presidential election, among other things. He's one of those election deniers. Here's what's strange for me. An election denier that's running for office. If you think something's wrong with the way that we vote and the voting system, you don't trust the results, why are you even participating in using the voting system? Since you don't believe it, right? It's just foolishness. What Cox is focusing on is his opposition to pandemic control measures. He's a no mask guy. He was one of those. He was anti-vaccine. Of course, he wants to dump on Baltimore, talk about crime in Baltimore, which is, crazy. Crime in Baltimore is insane. He wants to talk about public schools, the indoctrination centers, he calls them. Says the students are brainwashed about sexual and gender identity behind their parents' backs. That's what he's saying. So I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be a winning formula for Dan Cox. Wes Moore raised more than $10 million since he launched his campaign last year. So he's got a lot of supporters. And I think that he's going to take this one home. So Republicans have been talking about Democrats propping up candidates, as they call them. What they have been doing is drawing attention to these more extreme candidates with the hopes that Republicans take the bait and vote for them in the primaries. So when you get to the general election, you have what seems like a completely sensible and moderate Democrat running against an extreme election denying right wing crazy person. That's the matchups that they want. And in many instances, not all, but in many instances, that's what they got. So they got what they wanted. And we're going to see what happens, whether the American people do what Democrats are hoping that they're going to do. When you're setting up scenarios that were similar to Trump and Biden. Setting up scenarios that are similar to Trump and Biden. I mean, that's what they were trying to do. And in many instances, that's going to go the way that you think it would go. But it depends on where and in what state we're talking about. Depends on where we're talking about. So we're going to have to keep you posted on that. Of course, election day, less than 50 days away. 50 days away. In Baltimore County, person of interest is in custody after a suspicious package was found. Suspicious package found. Students were evacuated this morning amid the discovery of this package at a Kearney school in an investigation that also stretched into Woodlawn. Baltimore County Police said that they have a person in custody, person of interest, did not provide any further details, said that charges are pending. It was mid-morning when students and staff members at Pine Grove Middle School were suddenly rushed out onto the school grounds. They did not know why. So out of an abundance of caution and in consultation with the Baltimore County Police, they decided to evacuate students from Pine Grove Middle School. They sent them first to Pine Grove Elementary. Then they were taken to Parkville High School, where their parents were told that they could pick up their students. All the students safe as of 2 p.m. today. That gave police enough time to move in with special units and destroy the package. There were no reports of injuries. Police tweeted at 5:30 p.m. that residents who evacuated near Pine Grove Middle School may return to their homes. So definitely cannot be too careful, I guess. It's such a crazy time. Such a crazy time that we even have things like this going on. I definitely appreciate the police response. The first responders putting their lives on the line to make sure that our kids are safe. So you had bus services to several schools were late, of course, as a result of this debacle. Definitely. So I'm glad that everybody's okay. Glad that no one was hurt. And glad that they got the suspect. And hopefully that'll be the end of that. Welcome back. Your man Diamond K in here, of course, at DiamondKShow.com, on fire-tv.com. Charm City Live. Good music, good food, good fun happens this Saturday, September 24th, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. Baltimore. If you are not ready to say goodbye to festival season, you are in luck. Grab your friends and your family and join your neighbors as they celebrate the charm that makes Charm City so unique. Residents of all ages are invited to the lawn of the War Memorial the War Memorial Plaza, for an eclectic blend of art, entertainment, and local foods. Several garages and parking lots on site will be available and designated for this event. Of course, you're going to have to pay for parking. Like, prices are going to vary, so don't get it twisted. The festival will bring national performances from Joe, Kelly Price, Stokely, John B., Bonfire, and more. Rebecca Black. Beyond the music, the family-friendly event will host a kids zone, food trucks, and retail spaces. The best part of this is it is absolutely free. So get outside and join up with the folks for the first ever Charm City Live Music Festival. The Charm City Live Music Festival. For more information, charmcitylive.baltimorecity.gov. charmcitylive.baltimorecity.gov. All right. So if you're in Baltimore, that is something that you can check out. And before we go to our guest, the Baltimore Crown Awards, the 2022 Baltimore Crown Awards goes down on Saturday, November the 19th at the Garage, which is 6 Lafayette Avenue in Baltimore. This year's celebration is an Emerald Parties hosted by comedian Desi Alexander. Dress code is emerald green. They are celebrating the 16th anniversary of the Baltimore scene movement. So they want you to come dressed in the theme color for the visual unity. They want to have this unified theme and a great evening. You can cast votes right now at the baltimorescene.org, the baltimorescene.org for the 2022 Baltimore Crown Awards. So got that going on. Okay, just tuned in. Your man Dom K in here, of course, the Dom K Show. We're going to do this. We'll take a quick break, and then we're going to come back with our special guest.
It's the Diamond K Show.
So much going on in the world. You talk about things from the perspective of how it is. DJ Diamond K, sometimes it comes off like you are almost not in support of, but you just accept the way things are and there's no chance of change. Check me out on YouTube. That's the part that I am just like, ah.
On firetv.com.
And we are back. There are so many different months that bring light to very important information that we need to know about. I did not know that September was the awareness for IIH. I didn't know it was IIH Awareness Month. But thankfully, I have someone on that's going to be able to tell us a little bit more about this and talk a little bit about her journey. How are you doing?
I am well, kind of.
Kind of well. I got you. So please introduce yourself.
I am Shenee Woodson. I am the founder of Shenee Shares and His Favorite Ministries, formerly known also for His Favorite Magazine. And I have been diagnosed with idiopathic intracranial hypertension and PCOS. So I'm excited to be able to talk to you about that today, Mr. Diamond K.
Okay. All right. So those were a lot of words. You used your what I call the SAT words.
Yes.
So I guess let's talk a little bit about what that actually is. I have a definition on the screen here. Does that sit well with you?
That sits very well because that's exactly what it is. It is pressure on the brain, and it causes headaches. And those headaches are not normal headaches. You're talking about migraines. I mean migraines to the point where you can barely move. You barely want to talk at times, and it just messes up your whole day. Vision loss. Me and my ophthalmologist are best friends. Glasses. When it comes to vision loss, I currently, I can even tell with my glasses on now. I actually have an appointment coming up because I know that my vision is getting a little worse. Because if it's not taken care of, you can lose sight with this, because the pressure on your eyes, your occipital nerve, what happens is it builds so much pressure that you end up losing your sight. There's other symptoms included with this as well: vomiting, nausea, your fingers tingling. There are some people who start stuttering, memory loss. There's a lot of different things associated with this, and as people are still talking about other symptoms as they're doing more studies with this, and we're finding out that more and more people are experiencing IIH. Is also known as a pseudo tumor, which is a fake tumor. What it is our body actually thinks that it has a tumor when it really doesn't.
So, I'm very sorry to hear this. How did you become aware that this was something that affected you?
Well, I've always had migraines, and it was getting to the point where it was happening more frequently. And I'm like, why am I having all these migraines all the time? So I went to the doctors and said, why am I'm having migraines more often? I know it was stress. I was going through a lot at the time. It was definitely stress induced. So if you're stressing, please take care of yourself. But so when I went to the doctors and I said, hey, and I'm noticing, I'm seeing all these little specks, as well as I'm, in my vision. So they referred me to see the ophthalmologist. And when
Like
I went
actual specs?
yes, like little specks flying in, or little specks of light or black dots I would see. Like if I close my eyes for I'd open them, all of a sudden I would see these black specks just all over the place for no reason. Or I would have periods of, just not being able to see for like 2 or 3 seconds at a time. And I'm like, no, that's scary. And I'm like, okay, something's not right. I'm supposed to be able to see. So when I went to the doctor, they referred me to the ophthalmologist. So when I went, they did a thorough exam. And first he said, well, you have papilledema, your occipital nerve is swollen. They thought I had MS at first, multiple sclerosis. So they wanted to rule that out at first. He gave me the whole MS talk and said, you may have this, let's rule this out first, see if there's anything else before we continue any other studies. Got an MRI done. They had me come back for another MRI, come to find out this is what that diagnosis was. And I was like, finally, now we know where the migraines are coming from and why I'm experiencing these moments of vision loss. And it went from there. So as time progressed, there was a moment where it was really, really bad. I was in my room one day about to prepare. I'm also a professional development trainer for Department of Human Services, preparing for one of my sessions to teach. And I passed out. My daughter was home. We was during the pandemic, so schools was not in session. They was in session, but they were virtual. And she ended up having to call my mom and the ambulance, and for like 15 to 20 seconds, I couldn't see. I thought I was out of here. I was bargaining with God. God, and if anything,
You thought this was the end?
Yes, I really did. I said, okay, if anything I've done, Lord, forgive me. I'm about to see you. Somebody, hope my daughter's being taken care of. And, all this is going through my head. As I was experiencing this. So when I got to the hospital, I had vomited so much they couldn't even start an IV on me. There was no fluids in me, nothing. So they had to do a spinal tap. And that was actually the second time I had one.
That is not pleasant.
Yes. They did a spinal tap and relieved some pressure from my brain from the fluid. I was okay after that. And then when I went to the neurologist again, they said if they have to do it any more times, they're going to have to put a brain stent, which is just like a catheter that'll help drain the fluid to come from your brain. And it's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. And excuse me, usually I'm all made up, but this is a good example, and I'm really showing y'all how it really was. Like, I had to cancel some things that was going on in my own life, and I'm not feeling well. So you're really seeing the real experience of what somebody goes through having IIH and brain fog, forgetful, everything. It's a lot.
All of these things
it's a lot.
Impact you. Yeah. So it's as you described it, it's really characterized by the increased pressure inside the skull. Right. And the pressure of the fluid that surrounds the brain is too high.
Yes.
And so it's just amazing that, I mean, I guess I could understand the severe headaches. I'm just surprised that it affects vision, you know.
Mhm.
But I mean, I can understand considering what it is that that it would cause these intense migraines. So what type of medicine did they give you for this?
Well, I'm on seizure medications. I'm on
Wow.
antidepressants. I'm also on I call it just in case somebody diuretics, the pee pill. I
Okay.
make constantly peeing just to make sure the fluid doesn't build up in my brain too much. And anytime any nausea, vomiting, any stuff like that. I don't want to name all the medications because one, they're
Mhm.
hard to pronounce. You see, IIH is hard to pronounce, so just bear with
It
me with that.
is. Yeah.
Bear with me with that one. But yeah, and there's actually one of the medications that my doctor, neurologist, I call him my doctor neurologist, but shout out to Dr. Rabins. He is a wonderful doctor from Johns Hopkins. He prescribed one medication. I don't like taking it because it'll literally knock me out for the rest of the day when I do take it.
Wow.
However, that's if the headaches get so severe that I cannot stand it.
Yeah.
And I've only had to take in this particular medication twice so far during this journey. I don't like taking it at all, but the times I like it does help. But again, it turns me into almost like a zombie. Like I'm done for the day. And I now understand why he said let it be the last resort. Taking this particular one, but definitely this. I haven't had a seizure. I haven't experienced that, but I do know people. I am with a support group. There's Facebook groups and things out there that I've joined. There's other people that I met that have this and they've experienced seizures. There's one person I talked to. She stutters more when she's, especially women who go through their cycle during their time instead of getting it. She's been stuttering, things like that. So it's a lot. It's a lot entailed. And that's why not saying I'm glad I have it, but I'm glad that it's starting to be put out there more because
Yeah.
more people I think need to understand maybe not just a migraine, maybe it's something you need to get checked out and ask your doctor to look more into it because a lot of doctors are still not really knowing what this is. They're
Have
still researching to find out what's going on.
Did any of your treatments did they talk about lifestyle or dietary modifications?
Yes. They're tracing some of it back to maybe obesity, and also again stress and your lifestyle as far as eating habits.
Right.
I was put on a gluten-free and sugar-free diet. I have been hard-headed sometimes, but when I first started, the summer came around and
Yeah.
but all seriousness though, but yeah, sugar-free, definitely gluten-free. I have to be mindful of that. And also again, I also have PCOS as well. So I'm dealing with two different um chronic illnesses, back to back. So I'm having to be mindful even more of my eating habits because it also affects, the weight going up and down. They're associating IH with weight gain. However, some people that I have talked to, I mean, they're small. Their weight is actually, they would be considered, underweight. However, they're still experiencing IH. So, everybody isn't the fact that it's obese and is geared towards women of childbearing years, but
Yeah.
that is weight is a part of it, and eating healthier can help. And
Absolutely.
I've had met two people already who don't have it anymore. They're on remission, and the doctor told them make sure they maintain their weight.
Right. Right. And with regards to the affected populations, instances in the general population, about 1 per 100,000.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
and in some instances, it can affect men and children as well, but lower frequency of that. So I'm glad that you have a support group and folks that you can talk to about this. And so, with regards to September being a month to bring awareness to this, what do you do in September normally?
Well, this is my first time being more involved with it because I've recently been diagnosed.
Mhm.
But on my end, I'm actually going to do like you're doing, interviewing, processing, and
Wonderful.
I'm interviewing people who have it. It's been hard trying to get all of us together. I actually just put a post on my page saying, please pray for us trying to get all of us together, because my partner and one of my partners, she's actually in the hospital now. And they found out she also has Crohn's disease alongside of this. So I'm trying to deal with that. And then I have, I've been posting every day or every other day different symptoms, what is related to some facts in regards to IIH. And in the future, I want to do events to bring awareness to it, have different panel discussions, all those things. That's in the works as well. With things I've done in the background, I think that's not saying I've been diagnosed for a purpose, but I'm using this for a purpose, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
I'm not going to sit back and say, "Oh, I got it." I'm going to fall back and just forget everything else I do. I'm like, okay, I know what I need to do now. Is because I've had my shoes in a lot of different things, so I'm going to utilize that in order to bring awareness and help other people to know what's going on. So again, this is my first month, sharing it, because I've just been diagnosed, but it's a lot more coming. I'm not just using September to do so, even though it is awareness, but I have some other things that's brewing that I want to, be on different platforms and use my own platform to do so. We talking about doing even a walk as well to bring awareness, because you got other walks out there. Not putting them down, because I walk for MS. Actually, my sister has MS, so just the same, some of the same things that you see other awarenesses do, just doing it for IIH as well.
Right. Well, I'm really glad that you are open to talk about this, and other people that are dealing with this can kind of have some comfort in knowing that they're not alone in being affected by this, and all of that. You talked about your platform a bit. Why don't you shout out your social media and all that kind of stuff?
Yes, well, everything is under Shenee Shares. I just launched my own business called Shenee Shares. Shenee Shares, hashtag Shenee Shares, at Shenee Shares, social media, all of it is Shenee Shares. Yeah. The reason why I call it Shenee Shares, because Shenee is sharing her life journey in order to help other people. I feel like me being transparent is going to be able to help other people to be able to move forward with the things that they want to do. With my faith, me just letting people know she's going through this, but she's still pushing. She's still doing what she needs to do. So I'm very transparent with a lot of things that I do with Shenee Shares. I also share my resources as well. So Shenee is just sharing.
That's good.
That's what it is. Some people know me from doing the magazines and interviews and stuff from in the past. I've interviewed some. I can name drop Michael B. Jordan, Sterl K. Brown, etc. However, I'm taking this time out just to just help other people to be able to reach their goals as well, but sharing my journey in the process.
Right, and that is so good. So you say Shenee Shares. I like that. It's a catchy name. It's a catchy name. Whenever you have something that you need to share, you know how to get in touch with me. So definitely, you have an open invitation anytime that you need to share something here.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And same here.
Thank you so much. Absolutely. I appreciate you taking some time to chop it up with me.
Of course. I was like, oh my gosh, no, Diamond, let me get it on here. I gotta get it together, pull it together. I'm not all the way made up and face beat and stuff, but I gotta get it on here. It's my
you look great.
Buddy. Thank you.
All right. Again, Shenee Shares. Shenee Woodson, thank you so much for stopping to the Diamond K Show.
Of course.
All right, and I think that's going to do it for today. Of course, I'll be back here tomorrow. On Fire TV is an advertiser-supported audio and video network. Of course, we talk breaking news and so much more. We produce podcasts and TV shows covering topics that are important to our culture. Of course, onfire-tv.com, radioonfire.com is where you go. So I have so many announcements coming up. I don't even know where to begin. We have 5 new shows that are going to be launching. So I will be talking a little bit about that tomorrow. And I'll be back here 6 p.m. tomorrow, of course, for the Diamond K Show. And if you miss any episodes of our programs, of course, on fire-tv.com, on YouTube, anywhere you get podcasts, just search The Diamond K Show, or on fire-tv.com/Diamond K. And, everything will pop right up for you. All right. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.